Hey YouTube. So I had a request to do a video on the controls. I have my handheld tripod, so we'll try to make this work. I may have to switch in the middle, but we'll talk about the controls on the bicycle and how they work and what you should do to start out. So let me flip the camera around, and we'll probably get interrupted by Karen. She's in the trailer. Come on. She's in the trailer with the doggy. The doggy loves going into, my wife calls it the little house. So they're in there hanging out. So I have both bikes here, the XP and the step through. So here's your basic setup for the handlebars. This is, if you look it up, that's from Amazon, and the mirror's from Amazon. So you have your controls to start the bike. So you press and hold for 2 seconds. Bike comes on. When it is in this mode that you can see on the display, the bike is a regular bike. You have to pedal to make it move. To get it so that it moves under, and that includes the throttle. Nothing works. See how it don't move? That includes the throttle. Nothing will work at this point. So you switch to 1, you're good for about 4 miles an hour, and now the throttle will work. The throttle is unaffected by the PAS, so it's going to work. You'll be able to go 20 miles an hour as long as it's set to PAS 1. But pedaling wise, the assistance, you'll be pretty going much 4.7, maybe 6 miles an hour at the max. PAS 2 is what I ride in most of the time, with assistance, 11, 12 miles an hour in there. If you're not pedaling very hard, maybe 10. PS3, and I'm hitting this up arrow right here to get the changes. PS3, 15, 4 is about 18, and 5 is 20. So we'll shut it off so I don't do anything stupid. The down arrow brings it back to 0. To turn on the lights, you turn and hold the up arrow, and you'll see on the display it says manual, and there's a headlight symbol. So if you come around, the headlight is on, tail light is on. People have complained about the brightness. It works well enough to keep you from getting hit by a car, but you're going to want to ride slower with it on. So you push and hold the up arrow, and the light goes back off. So there is some settings that you can do. I'm not going to show you. Read the manual when you get the bike, and it will show you how to adjust various settings, how strong the PAS is starting out, and likewise. So you have the throttle here. The throttle is not going to spin the tire unless you're off the bike. But if you're sitting on the bike, it's unlikely that it's going to spin the tire, even on snow or ice. It just doesn't start out with that kind of power. I use it to start out. So we'll go over here. When I start out my bike, my pedals is at the bottom of the stroke on the right side, like this. I put my foot on it, get on the bike, and then I twist the throttle to get me going. And then I start pedaling, all in one motion. So I use the throttle usually just take off anytime I'm riding the bike, just because that's the easiest way for me to get going. Karen rides faster than I do because she doesn't have the ankle problems I do. So there's at times I just cannot pedal very good. Here comes the doggy and the Karen. Valentine, say hello. She's naked. Valentine just got her hair cut. She loves going in. Say hi, Karen.
Hi.
So
Valentine loves the little house. That's her little house, she thinks.
So twist and the pedals down like that, you twist the throttle and you start pedaling at the same time and take off. It's the same. My wife does it differently on her bike, but that's her. It's how I take off. Don't start off on grass the first time you ride the bike. You want to get on a solid surface and ride the bike that way. Don't make the mistake of taking off. We just had somebody over here that wanted to try the bike, and she fell over because my wife started her off on grass. I was busy doing something else, so let me turn you back around here. So the gear shifter is well, let me turn you back around. You don't need to see my ugly way. The gear shifter, you have to be pedaling to shift. If you don't pedal, you're going to end up stretching the cable, and you'll have to adjust the cable all the time. So the bike you have to be pedaling when you shift, up or down. So push up to shift to a higher gear, and lower gear actually. So I can do that because I can adjust if it needs to be. So you click to plus, and which means you're going to go from, if you start out at 1, you push plus and it'll take you to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And the thumb will shift you to a lower gear, I should say. Like 1 would be the easiest pedal and 7 would be the hardest to pedal. Most of the time in PA2, I have it in 5 or 6. 3, I shift to 7. I usually run out of pedal gearing in 3. I can usually pedal as fast as I want to go in PAS 3 on 7. So the bikes do a great job of assisting you. You can set how long it takes before the power kicks on when you're pedaling. Default is 1, so it's at the lowest setting, and which means it's also at the lowest sensitivity. So it takes on 1 almost a full revolution of the pedal before it's going to recognize that you're pedaling. On 3, it's probably just a little bit. To start out, do not change that setting. You do not need to be trying to get your foot settled on the pedal and it start giving you power right away. So as you get more experience, then you can change the settings to better suit your riding style. If you're gonna mess with taking the battery out, make sure you turn the bicycle upside down. If I took and opened up my bike and tried to take the battery out of it, it'd be a matter of trying to hold the bike and catch the battery at the same time. I've chipped mine the first time I took it out. So just leave it in there unless you need to take it out. It's about 7 or 8 pounds, so it does make a difference. If you have to load your bike, it will make a difference. It'll take the bike from 58 or 59 pounds down to 50 pounds. So the easiest way to transport the bike folded up is to put it in a tote. Find a tote, a heavy duty tote, and fold the bike up, lift it up and put it in the tote. And then you can carry it with 2 hands and put it where you need to. That's going to be the easiest way, and it's also going to be the easiest way to store it in your RV if you're going to store it in your RV, because when a bike is unfolded, it can roll. Folded, it's not folded, it's just sitting on its wheels. Then you have to try to tie it down in there. So the best way to store it in an RV or in the back of your vehicle would be a tote. Then you don't have to worry about getting stuff greasy from the chain or any of that. So the bike will shut off after 10 minutes of inactivity. If you don't push a button or twist a pedal or anything, 10 minutes it'll shut off. It'll reset your odometer. So keep that in mind. If you're going to stop for somewhere, It won't reset your total odometer, but your trip odometer. And your timer. There is a timer on there that tells you how long you've been riding too. So the energy bar is inaccurate to a point. It's not gonna. It'll give you a general idea of your power usage, and the more you help, the longer you'll be able to ride with assistance. The less you help, the less time you'll have. It's a 10 amp battery, so that means most of the time in PAS2 pedaling, you're going to draw 2 or 3 amps. You might, if you draw more than that, 3 amps would give you 3 hours of pedal assistance. 2 amps, 5 hours. So it's kind of easy to figure out. And there is an amperage guide on the odometer too. It'll tell you how many amps you're drawing at that moment. Starting out, you may draw as many as 20 amps. Actually, I've seen it go as 21 amps. So that makes this technically a 1,000-watt motor on the bike. Even though they're saying 500, I don't know where they're getting 500. If it draws 20 amps to start out, that's 980 watt out right there. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you there. Maybe they did that for labeling. Let me turn you around again. So that label right there is removable. And underneath of it, there's a class 3 label. So if you remove that and you're exposed to class 3 label bike, it doesn't matter if you have it set up as a class 2. When you're out on a bike trail and you get stopped, it's going to say it's a class 3. And that's what they're going to give you a ticket for, because most bike trails in the United States do not allow class 3 bikes on the trail. A class 3 bike will go 28 miles an hour. And if you unlock this bike, it won't go 28 with me on it, but it'll go 28 with you on it. So mine goes about 24, maybe 25 with a fresh battery, not with one that's half empty. You'd be lucky if you get 20. So the bike's controls are pretty easy to use. Remember, shift when you're pedaling, downshift when you're pedaling, or you'll stretch the cable. Start out riding the bike as a regular bicycle the first time till you learn the steering. You're not learning the rest of the bike, that's fine. You just want to know how it turns before you start adding power to it. You don't need to spend a day doing it. 10 minutes, just ride it 5-10 minutes around the neighborhood, figure it out, start out in maybe 2 or 3, shift through the gears, learn how to pedal, learn how the bike fits you, what you need to adjust without being worried about how much power you have going to the back wheel. See, the computer finally shut off, so I must have been talking more in 10 minutes. So like I said, the accessories, the water bottle holder, the mirror, and the cell phone holder was all bought on the Amazon. This bag, there's a code on YouTube to get the bag free when you order the bicycle. So if you look up YouTube, Lectric XP, and then free saddlebag. There's a couple that did a review for Lectric XP, and they gave them a coupon code to give their watchers. So mine doesn't. That is a purchase off Amazon. I'd rather just have a little bag. I don't need this, but my wife keeps her helmet, her gloves, everything on her bike with it all the time. So as you can see, mine's got a few dents and dings. The tires, I'm going to say I have about 400 miles left on them, but they're getting pretty wore out. This is a Bikeroo seat. You can buy it on Amazon for about 40 bucks. The mirrors were a set of 2 for, at the time, about 10 bucks. The cell phone holder, which will hold up to a Note 20 Ultra, which is a big phone. So it fits on there, so keep that in mind. I don't think there's a bigger phone out there, so it should fit just about everything. The bike holder is a clamp. It doesn't have to anyway. It just clamps onto the deal there and works fine for her. She just uses a regular 16.9 ounce water bottle. I don't have any of that. If I want a bottle of water, I'll throw it in the bag. Less clutter. I don't want no clutter on my bike. So I have a cell phone holder, and you guys know that if you've watched my channel. I use that sometimes to do the videos of me riding. But I'm going to call it a video. Any questions, comments, put them below. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, and enjoy. Get out there and ride that bike.